If you're looking for a vampire book with a lot of plot and hardly any smut, this is just skip this one. After thinking back on it, it's definitely not young adult. Hey everyone, it's me Bailey and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I am going to be reading the highest versus the lowest rated book on my current monthly TBR. So if you are not new to my channel, you will know that I've done this video before where I have read the highest versus the lowest rated on my overall Goodreads TBR. But this month I have decided that I'm going to be doing it for the books that I have on my TBR for the month of February. That way I can read some of the books that I wanted to read this month, but also reading books that I own and kind of just getting through my TBR and things like that. So I have gone through Goodreads and written down the average rating for each book on my February TBR, and we're going to be picking the highest rated and the lowest rated and reading both of those books in this video. As of right now, I have not read any books on my February TBR. I have 8 books on my TBR, and so I'm going to be picking the highest and the lowest, and we're just gonna go over each book and their rating, and then I think I'm gonna start with the lowest and then go up to the highest rated book. Okay, so the first book that's on my TBR is Monster Pucker by Cleo Evans and Ashley Bennett, and this has an average rating of 3.99 stars. Next we have Sable Peak by Devney Perry. This has an average of 4.24 stars. We then have The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, which has 3.95 stars. We've got Magnolia Parks Into the Dark, which has an average of 4.30 stars. We have Iron Flame, which has an average of 4.36 stars. We have House of Flame and Shadow, which has an average of 4.34 stars. We've got Court of the Vampire Queen, which has an average of 3.40 stars. And we have Love Redesigned, which has an average of 4.13 stars. So based on the 3-star ratings, we have Court of the Vampire Queen with 3.40. We've got The Dead Romantics with 3.95 and Monster Pucker with 3.99. So out of those 3, the one with the lowest rating is Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Robert with 3.4 stars. So this is going to be the book that I read for the lowest rated. So for the 4-star books, we have Sable Peak with 4.24 stars. We've got Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home with 4.3 stars. So this one is already higher than that. Then we've got Iron Flame with 4.36 stars, which I think is actually the highest, because then we have House of Flame and Shadow with 4.34, so 0.02 difference between these two. So this one beats it out by 0.02 points. And then we had Love Redesign, which is 4.13. So looks like for the highest rated book, I'm going to be reading Iron Flame, which is good because I started this book back in like December and still have not finished it. I'm on page like 50, page 48. So it's good for me to actually finally read this. And I did actually already start Court of the Vampire Queen last week, so I have already started this. So I've literally already started both of these, but I'm going to be reading them and finishing in this video. So this is my TBR for this video, and I think I'm going to be starting with Court of the Vampire Queen since I am a little bit further into this one, and then getting into Iron Flame. So these are the 2 books that I'm going to be reading for this video. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop on into the video. Hello, so I am popping on here with my first reading update for this video. So as I mentioned in the last clip, the first book that I was going to start reading was Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Roberts, and I'm now 298 pages into this book. It is like a little bit of a longer book. It's close to 500 pages, and so basically I wanted to come on here and update so far what my thoughts are on this book. So I have learned that this was originally a trilogy of novellas that has then since been combined into this one book. So there's like 3 parts, which is actually essentially each novella. And so I read the first one and was really enjoying it, and then the second part came about and I was like less invested in what was going on. It was just like a little bit boring, I guess, because it was like it jumped like a month ahead. So it was like you had where the first part ended, and see, this was before that I knew that it was like novellas. So you had the first one where it ended, and then it like part 2 starts, and instead of like starting where we left off, it like jumps a month into the future to then pick up. And so I didn't realize that that was going to be a thing that happened in this book, but now that I know that this was actually 3 novellas put into one book, I'm more prepared for when I finish part 2 and I'm into part 3, because I want to say I'm on the last chapter of part 2. Yeah, so I literally have like a few pages before I'm done with part 2. But so far my thoughts are, I don't know, like this book, I was looking at some of the reviews and there's obviously like a very wide range of ratings for this book. So if you're looking for a smutty vampire time with more smut than plot, this is the book for you. If you're looking for a vampire book with a lot of plot and hardly any smut, this is, just skip this one, because this one has smut like from page like 2. Like it is chock full. So if that's not something that you're looking for, then I definitely would not recommend this book for you. But overall, the plot is like okay. So basically we're following Mina, and she is a vampire human hybrid. She's like half vampire, half human, and she has been sent to this like what they call bloodline vampire, which is like one of the original bloodline vampire families, to procreate with the last living person of this bloodline. So her father like sends her to his house to basically have a baby with him. And in the process of her being at his house, his like 2 friends show up, and then it like turns into a like reverse harem type situation. So it is like, so it is male, 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 female. So everyone has relationships with each other. And so basically that's what we've got going on. So the plot is there, but it's like a sprinkle of plot. So basically Mina is trying to overthrow her father, and so we're following her in the process of trying to do that. So I'm assuming book 3 is like that happening, because like book 1 was like her with Malachi and meeting the other 2 vampires, and then part 2 is like her trying to like devise a plan to like overthrow her father. And so I guess part 3 will be like the plan in action. So I'm definitely interested to see how it's going to end, but I don't know, I don't really see myself giving this more than like a 3-star. The writing is pretty decent, and like I said, the plot's not really there, so, but the writing is pretty good. So basing it off of that, I don't know, I'd say I'd probably give it like, probably will end up giving it a 3-star, but definitely nothing higher than that. I do see myself reading some more of this today. I don't know if I'm going to finish this today. I'll probably end up finishing it tomorrow, just because I do have kind of a heavier school load today, so I don't really see myself finishing this. But I did just want to come on here and update my thoughts on it so far. And yeah, so with that being said, I will talk to you guys again later if I have any updates. Hello, so I wanted to pop on here and update that I have finished Court of the Vampire Queen by Katee Roberts. And so right now I'm just gonna sit on my rating, because I really don't know what my thoughts are about this book. So I mentioned earlier that we're following Mina, and she ends up being sent to this like vampire's house where she has to basically have his baby. But once she gets pregnant, like her father's planning on killing her, and like whatever, I don't know, the plot was like very dicey. But there was like, the whole point was that okay, we need to kill your father so that way you can take over as queen. And so like there was a fight scene at the very end. It literally lasted 1 chapter, and I'm trying to remember that this is a set of novellas. Like this isn't like a novel. Like this is 3 novellas that was put into one binding. So I'm trying to remember that, because when I say the fight scene literally lasted 1 chapter, that was like 5 pages. It was so short, and the conclusion I feel like was so easy. Like I feel like it was almost too easy, but then again, for the amount of plot that was in this book, it also kind of makes sense because there was such very little plot. I don't know, but I think I'm gonna sit on my rating for this one and probably let you guys know after I've had a couple days to think about it, because I don't know. So that's my thoughts on Court of Vampire Queen. But now that I finished that, I will be moving on to Iron Flame, which is the second book that I'm going to be reading for this video. This is the highest rated book on my February TBR. So I did mention that I have started this back in December. So I'm currently on page 48, which is chapter 6. I literally read the first 48 pages and then put it down and never picked it back up. So here we are, finally going to pick it up. There are going to be no spoilers. I also wanted to mention that this is the second book in a series. Sorry, Navy just like ran in here with his bowl and he's like making a lot of noise, but this is the second book in a series, so I will not be spoiling the first book or anything that happens in this book. I will mainly be talking about things that happen in this book out of context and like nothing that's going to spoil the plot of this book. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there because this is definitely a spoiler-free reading vlog, so I didn't want anyone to think that I was going to spoil anything for them. But now that I finished Court of the Vampire Queen, I'm going to dive into this. So with that being said, I will talk to you guys again later. To come on here and let you guys know that I finished Iron Flame, which is the last book that I was going to be reading in this video and the highest rated book on my February TBR. So I'm having very mixed feelings about this book. I feel like if one thing Rebecca Yarros knows how to do is write an ending, but I feel like this book very much fell into second book syndrome, and it was honestly kind of boring, not even gonna lie. Like, yes, there was a lot of action scenes and things like that, but I felt like it wasn't giving what it necessarily needed to give. And I feel like I didn't love this one as much as I liked Fourth Wing. Like, I gave Fourth Wing 5 stars. Like, it was all vibes, so much fun, loved like just about everything about it. And this one just, I feel like, fell a little bit short for me, which I feel like has been the consensus about this book. But I feel like it's definitely like second book syndrome, and I definitely am interested to see where the story is going to go from there. Like, that ending was absolutely insane, and I cannot wait to get the third book in the series so that way I know what's going to happen. But overall, I still enjoyed this book. I think I'm going to end up giving it a 3.5 star, which I feel like isn't a bad rating. I feel like I'm giving it that extra half star just because of the ending. But overall, still not a bad book. And I definitely would recommend the series if you have not read it yet. Like, honestly, so good. Cannot wait for the 3rd book to come out. Okay, so that is all for today's video. Just as a recap, I read Court of the Vampire Queen and I decided to end up giving that book 2.5 stars. I don't think I ever actually like told you guys what I decided to end up rating it, but I decided to end up giving it 2.5 stars. And yeah, I don't know, it just wasn't like my favorite thing that I've ever read, so 2.5 stars for that one. And then obviously finished the video out with Iron Flame and gave that book 3.5 stars, so that leaves me with an average of a 3 star for the books between this video. But I feel like I still had a really good time enjoying both books, even if they were very much on a different scale, and they both were very like different compared to what they needed to be. Also, please ignore the peanut butter. I just saw that and so I'm like, oh oops. Anyway, but yeah, so overall I would recommend both of these books. I feel like I would recommend Court of the Vampire Queen if you're looking for a fun, quick, smutty like vampire book, and if you're looking for more fantastical, high action, young adult, well I guess more like new adult fantasy, then I definitely would recommend Fourth Wing for you as well. After thinking back on it, it's definitely not young adult. But yeah, so that's gonna be all for today's video. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me. I will have all of my social medias linked in the description, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.